Arsenal 3, Nottingham Forest 0, and we've got the 3 PMs to talk about as well. But I did want to talk about the Arsenal game because I think they get so much criticism, but it is job done. And I think there's a bigger picture here with Arsenal as well. I predicted them to win the league. Obviously, Liverpool are going to be huge favourites. They've had a brilliant start, 9 from 9. They bring Isak in. But you look at Arsenal's start to the season, and progressively, I think it's better. They have to stay in the race with Liverpool. You know, regardless of what Arsenal fans say or the media say, there is a pressure and an expectation on Arsenal this year. Having finished second so many times and not been good enough, whatever happens, they've got to go toe-to-toe with whoever's going to win the league if they're not going to win the league. And I think that's what they've built here. I mean, I look at that Arsenal team today. Zubimendi was brilliant. I thought Mosquera, the centre-back, was superb. I thought Madueke was brilliant. Gyokeres scored a goal. Eze settled in well. And that's the big thing about Arsenal. We know Liverpool are very good. We know Liverpool have bought very well, and we know that they're favourites. But with Arsenal, you lose Saliba, you lose Saka, you lose Odegaard, you lose Declan Rice, and you go, they ain't going to do anything. Today, they technically lost them all. Saliba, Saka injured, Rice put on the bench, and Odegaard going off early. What happens? Mosquera comes in. You've got Gyokeres, Eze, and Madueke, a completely new front three. Zubimendi into the midfield. Nwaneri comes on for Odegaard, and they still find a way to win the game, and they still look like a team. And I think that to win the league, I think for Arsenal, it has been step, 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 step. And what they have now, and what they've had before, is a good defence and a good first 11. And then if they get injuries, it's problematic. What they've got now is a very, very good squad. And they're able to deal with these injuries to Havertz and Saka and Saliba. And they can rest Declan Rice as well. But I also think secondary to that as well, this would have been the sort of game last season that they might draw. Like they did against Brighton. Like they did against Everton. Like they did a couple of years ago where they lost to Villa. Like these are the sort of games that you must win to win a Premier League title. So I think Arsenal still have got a very, very difficult game against Man City next week. But if they win that, and I think they will, you've got 12 points from 15. You've been to Old Trafford. You've been to Anfield. You've played Man City. And the only loss is to Liverpool, to a worldie from Szoboszlai. And you look at it and you go, for all the new signings, all the expectation, all the pressure, all the injuries, what more do you want? And you're going to get the detractors. You're going to get people who will take a pop at Gyokeres. You're going to get people who take a pop at Arteta in the way that they play, and it's always set pieces. But ultimately, I've just watched a load of 3 PM games where there's hardly any goals because people, the rhythm's not there. And I think that's to be expected. So I think it's a good start for Arsenal. Obviously, it's a better start for Liverpool. But from Arsenal's point of view, you're 3 points behind Liverpool. You've got to stay 3 points behind Liverpool until you're not. And that might be all the way until you play them at the Emirates where you'll need to beat them. But I don't think that loss at Anfield was that traumatic when you look at the game of football and you go, well, you want things like that to happen in a game. What can you do about it? I also think with Gyokeres as well, I was talking about this with injuries. I think sometimes Arsenal do pick up injuries because Arteta is a risk taker. He's thrown Gyokeres straight in. Saka's, been overplayed in the past. But I still think Gyokeres isn't fully match fit, but I actually thought he was quite good today. And I think 3 goals from 4 Premier League games, regardless of those goals and what you think of those goals, and one of them's a penalty and one of them's a tap-in, one of them was a very good individual goal. He smashed the post on what would have been a great team goal. I think he's just getting more and more settled. And for somebody that doesn't look fully match fit yet, I think you'd say that's not a bad start to his career at Arsenal. 3 goals from 4. I think Madueke has surprised me. I didn't really get that vibe from him at Chelsea, but I think we saw it for England. We've certainly seen it for Arsenal. I think he's been a brilliant, brilliant signing for Arsenal so far. Obviously, I'm not going to run away with it after 3 or 4 games, but he looks really good. And with Saka out, you've got a winger there. He was very good at Anfield, and he was very good again today, running at people. Mosquera has come in, literally thrown into the fire again at Anfield when Saliba comes off. Did very, very well. Again, very good today with Gabriel. So at the moment, Arteta's signings look good. Zubimendi, of course, as well. Eze looked good. So it's not, I've said this before with signings, I think it's a 60% hit rate. Nobody's, that's the average. 60% of signings will do well. 40% will be average or flop. So at the moment, all of Arsenal signings are looking really good. As for Forest, look, I mean, what can you say? Nuno probably would have lost that game anyway, but you turn up at Forest and play a shit way that Nuno does. Like, they had no shots, did they? I think they had no shots at half time. It was poor. And you look at some of those players and you can almost see in their body language, they're sort of like, what's this all about? I guess we'll just have to see how it goes. I don't see them going down or anything like that. In fact, I think they're they've got a good team. They've got a good bench. And I think that's why, if you're Arsenal, you look at that and go, job done. 3-0, boost your goal difference, clean sheet, win a game that you might have drawn last year, move on to the next one. And I think that's how Arsenal have got to do it. I don't know what the issue was with Declan Rice, but if there was no issue, I think it was intelligent to be able to just swap players in and out, let people make the noise and focus on what the job is. And as I say, 3 wins from 4 is a really good start for them. And the only reason it's a loss is because of what happened with a worldie from Szoboszlai. But yeah, I think you've got to give a shout out in a general sense to Bournemouth as well. They've got the same points as Arsenal. And the only loss was the same loss Arsenal had, which was Anfield. I mean, Bournemouth have literally sold, 3, maybe more, really important players. And here they are, 3 wins out of 4 against good teams as well. They've been to Spurs and won. They've beaten Brighton. Obviously, I can't remember who their third win was. Somebody in the chat will tell me. But yeah, I think Bournemouth are the story of the Premier League so far. Brilliant result from them. Aston Villa, no goals from 4 games. I mean, it's one thing to not start the season well, but to score no goals in 4 games, I mean, that's the ultimate insult as a fan, isn't it? You're just despairing with that. The one thing you want, I mean, you'd rather have 2 points and, have had 2 3-3s and a couple of 4-3s losses. But no goals in 4 games is incredible. But I think, look, it's really interesting. The international break always seems to kill momentum. And we've seen that again today. Not many goals, not many great games. And next season, they're talking about a 3-week international break so they can get rid of the October one. So next season, September international break will be 3 weeks long. What's that going to do to momentum? If they're like this after 2 weeks, they'll be bloody snails after 3. I do think what they should do is scrap the September international break, have the 3-week international break in October, keep the November one. But I think the big problem we have is that you come back, you play 3 games, and then everyone disappears. I think the Premier League needs a run of 6 games to get everyone up to speed. But apparently that's not going to happen. Get your comments in below. Let me know your thoughts. Smash a like on the video, and I'll speak to you on the next one. Thanks for watching.